Hey everybody, I just want to share this with y'all right quick. Um Today I got a notification from my Facebook memories, and it's just about I wish I had saved it so I can tell you. Basically what it's saying is don't rush your blessing or you'll end up with an Ishmael. And we all know the whole story about Abraham and Sarah. God promised Abraham a seed, and he's like, hey, I'm old. You know how old I am. And instead of them waiting, of course, they took matters in their own hands and they ended up with an Ishmael. But they did eventually end up getting their promise, which was Isaac. And it also kind of reminded me with the whole car situation. And what the lady was saying, that, God will give us the desires of our heart, because that's what the word says. And he loves us enough to do that. But you also have to stop and ask yourself, does the desires of my heart align with the will of God for my life? And so you can ask and ask and ask, and of course he'll go ahead and give it to you, because he loves us, and he's just that type of God where he will give us the desires of our hearts. But a lot of the time, the things that we desire is outside of the will of God, or should I say, it's not as big as what God would do for us. Sometimes we desire things that are small. They seem big to us, but they're actually small. And God is like, no, son, no, daughter. I have so much more for you if you just wait and be patient and let me work it out. You'll see what I can do, because the word says he'll do exceedingly abundantly above all we can ever hope for or imagine. But a lot of times, we get tired of waiting, especially when we've been waiting and praying for such a long time. We will take matters in our own hand, because it's like, okay, God, you taking too long. Let me help you out. But the thing of it is, God is just so awesome that sometimes, even when we take matters in our own hand and end up with an Ishmael, there are certain times where we just have to deal with the consequences of our behaviors, where we jump too quick, we act too fast, and we create a situation for ourselves. And sometimes we just have to deal with it. We have to ride it out and then trust God to deliver us. And in that whole process of dealing with the result of, I don't want to call it a bad choice, but I guess we can. Your faith, your patience, and everything else is being tested. But then there are some cases where you'll still get your Ishmael, but God is like, you know what? This is going to bring her too much problem. Let me go ahead and deliver her from this now. And I'll use my car situation. For example, just like the loan lady was telling me, she said, well, God did give you the desire of your heart. That's what you wanted. But what he had for you was better. But in this case, it was like, okay, this ain't going to work. That's what she wanted. I gave it to her, but I got more. So let me go ahead and show her. So in that case, it was cut short quick, because, I only had the car for like a week and a day, before I had to end up surrendering it. But then the one that I have now is better. Even with relationships and stuff like that, it's like, okay, God, I want this. We're thinking with our eyes. We're thinking with what we can see. When God knows our future, he knows our beginning from the end. He knows our end from the beginning. So he knows what's out there, and he knows what's coming. It's just us, because we're in this microwave society. We want stuff now. We don't want to wait, and we don't want to work. But then a lot of times it's not even the case that we don't want to wait and we don't want to work. A lot of times waiting is hard. Waiting is tough, especially when you're in your season of testing. Sometimes a series of events can all occur in that waiting period, in that waiting process. So while you're waiting for one thing to happen, something else is going on too. And it's like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this for 4 years. what is going on. And so that's the hard part. Long suffering is not easy. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. We all know that. Sometimes it's just like, gosh, this is taking a whole lot longer than I thought, or a whole lot longer than I wanted it to happen. Because a lot of times when God shows us something or we receive a word of prophecy, there's no timeline. There's no time frame. There is no, you're going to get a house. Your natural thought is, okay, well, I'll have a house in about 3 months, when it could take 3 years, could take 4, it could take 5, it could take 3 months, and it could take 3 days. It's just when we're shown stuff or we receive stuff, the one thing that we don't get the in-between time. So the time from the date that we receive the word until the time it manifests, we're not shown that. We're not shown the path that we have to talk. We're not shown the tears that we have to cry, the prayers that we have to do, and everything else. We don't see that. We just see a finished product. And because of that, we have the tendency to want to rush and hurry up. And in our rushing and hurrying up, if we get involved and get in God's way, we can mess stuff up and make it worse. So for all of us who are waiting on something, who are believing God for something, I just pray that God gives us the grace and the strength to carry on and to follow through and to not get involved and to not mess it up, but to seek him on decision and guidance. So I hope this helped you. Have a great day. Love you. Bye.